Well, howdy there, internet folks. Just your local SJW soy beta cuck here, checking on how y'all doing, guys, gals, and N pals. Not necessarily in that order. I put a lot of thought, unlike most things in life, into not only the concept of this video and whether I wanted to even make it, but the slightly comical visual aspect I've settled on here, and also the fact that I wanted to be very short. And do you ever have something where you feel the need to say something, but you're not really sure if you have anything to contribute? But then I've kind of convinced myself that it's one of those things where you just... Sometimes it's not whether you have something to contribute that's new necessarily, it's just kind of you feel the need to actually add to the chorus, so to speak, you know. Some democracy shit going on there, basically. It's also just occurred to me I have hands, so I could do rude hand gestures to cheer myself up if things get too real. So I'll probably think of some sort of minor content warning to put at the beginning, but let's just get into it. I think, in the politest way possible, that nerd culture has, and that's a deliberately vague term, but nerd culture has a toxicity problem, and I'm mainly thinking of YouTube here, but you see it all over the place. And I debated whether or not to name names and name subcultures or whatever you want to call them, but I've decided fuck it, basically. I used the word polite earlier and I'm already going back on that promise. Look, I'm not going to be rude to individual people, I'm just kind of generally going to point things out. So, if you go onto YouTube, you'll get, you know, the algorithm recommending you all sorts of things. But as someone who used to hold opinions back when I was a teenager, which I don't want to make it sound like I was some sort of monster, but I definitely used to think things just out of kind of innocent ignorance. You sort of pick up stupid ideas out of osmosis sometimes, and having learned a bit more about the world, just a teensy bit more, I do regret a lot of my old opinions. But if you go onto YouTube, you'll get pointed to certain fields of philosophical thought, shall we say. I'm just going to press control on the laptop because I can see it going to sleep. Fuck you, laptop. Only the laptop is the only person we're allowed to be rude to. Look, there is a problem in nerd culture of intolerance and lack of solidarity, and it is very easy, if you don't know what's being said, to kind of pick up on terms like SJW and agenda and indoctrination and forcing things down our throats, which always sounds so much more suggestive than they apparently seem to mean it to. And part of the reason I'm trying to be in a slightly more serious mode today is just because I want to do whatever little thing I can to just acknowledge it, and I was trying to put positive spin on all of this, and I've decided this video is me wearing a mask for some reason that no one forced me to wear, but I thought it was just slightly funny, just to say that what tiny voice on the internet, what my tiny corner of internet content is, what it's a dreaded internet safe space, okay, where I do moderate what comments I get and stuff, and very occasionally someone will comment something weird, and I'm like, okay, this could be taken a few ways. I'm going to give them a chance to defend themselves, and sometimes they don't defend themselves very well, and that's when I remove the comment, you know. I think there is a problem on YouTube especially, where you will just get sent down the algorithm rabbit hole. If you like someone getting angry at Superman for having too many black women in it, then that algorithm will send you down a rabbit hole where a lot of progressively more extreme and dark people use the same basic kind of argument and that same basic kind of attitude. I think I'm trying to get to the heart of it now. The same basic arguments and attitudes of ignorant knee-jerk reactions and intolerance, and a lot of it just stems from ignorance, and ignorance isn't a crime. But if you take that ignorance and then just don't educate yourself about a whole group of people, you know, I'm going to wrap it up. I can already feel I'm running out of steam. I'm a big believer in solidarity. I'm a big believer in protecting people against common enemies, you know, especially queer solidarity these days in places like Britain is so important, because at the risk of being depressing, no one is going to save us, is a revelation that I think us younger generations are increasingly coming to. If no one is going to protect us, we have to protect each other, and I will not tolerate whatever limited amount of hate appears in my limited corner of the internet. Hey, I need to do a goofy, wacky thing again just to kind of lighten the mood some more. I think I'm blushing a lot. I just kind of feel stressed and embarrassed and anxious about every part of this video, to be honest. Hopefully I've put some violent video games in the background just to make it tonally inconsistent. But yeah, I guess that's the message, and I'm glad I decided on this idea because I was determined to make like a half an hour long video ramble about it, and I just couldn't think of anything to say that hasn't already been said by better people. I could give you some specific video recommendation. I'll just mention the one I'm thinking of, really. I really like an excellent video by an excellent channel. Thought Slime has a video called something like Toxic Nostalgia Bros, which is all about the overlap between what seems like innocent, shitty nerd behavior that doesn't actually hurt anyone, even if it's shitty, and actual seriously dark shit. And I guess the message there is that shitty nerd behavior is shit and it does hurt people, but worse than that, it can overlap very easily because the arguments and the attitudes are so similar into truly dark political horribleness. And to wrap it up in the next 10 seconds, none of that is tolerated here. I guess I'm not offering to be a counselor to anyone necessarily, but I am offering to kind of help educate people in the way that I was educated, by which I mean show people other videos by better people than me. So I'm gonna piss off now. Ciao.
Who cares if I want to smoke weed and watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? It might not be edifying for me, but it's not hurting me, and it's certainly not hurting anyone else. But it does mean that I care about silly stuff sometimes. I get mad if DC Comics makes a bad editorial decision, which means I'm always kind of mad. But some people care a lot more about this cultural ephemera. Some people care about it to the point that they're willing to hurt others.